Hey, Shawn here from the Adventist Review, and
Justin Kim from the Adventist Review.
Justin Kim. Hey, Justin. Now, Justin's my boss. He's the senior editor, so it makes him kind of the CEO of the Adventist Review. What is the difference? Just in case somebody's confused, there's the Review and Herald, and there's the Adventist Review. Is there a difference, or is that the same thing?
Man, we get so mixed up with Adventist World Aviation, Adventist World. What's the other one? Adventist World Radio, and then the Risk Management, ARM, I think it's AR, and the Review and Herald. So Review and Herald is the publishing association. They actually they're a digital online entity now. But in North America, we had Pacific Press on the West Coast, we had Review and Herald on the East Coast. Now, the Adventist Review is just a magazine. It is just a online media, print magazine, and has nothing to do with publishing.
So you actually aren't in charge of all those organizations?
No.
I'm a little deflated about the job I've taken. I thought I was like, we're in charge of everything. No. Adventist Review. Today was really the first business day of annual council. It's day 3 if you count Wednesday night. And that was a partial day. Biblical reckoning, inclusive reckoning, is we're on day 3. So day 3, the business kind of started today. But before we talk about what business was transacted today, I just want to reflect for a moment on the worship experience we had today. A couple of things I observed, Justin. Number one was the scripture reading. There was a young engineer from overseas. He was told, you don't read a verse, you reflect on a chapter. And he gets Deuteronomy chapter 24, which talks about you can divorce your wife. He's like, what do I do with this?
That's right.
But he backed up into Deuteronomy chapter 23, and it said God requires the camp to be clean before he walks through it. And the divorce prescription in Deuteronomy 24 is you could divorce a wife who has been found to be unclean. And his point was, we are unclean and God has not divorced us. It was very touching. But more touching than that even was this morning's worship. I don't know. I was stunned. If you haven't seen it, you'll have a chance to see it.
Totally go online. Check out. This is Pastor Shane Anderson. And he spoke to the annual council attendee.
He did.
To the world leadership on the way. Man, it was the Holy Spirit.
It was almost a Nathan in David's throne room moment.
For sure.
Yeah, you are the guilty one. Yeah. And I actually was sitting there taking personal inventory, which is good for Christians. Paul says, examine yourself to see whether you be in the faith. And Shane gave us that opportunity today. It's like, is the fire that was once in your belly for the Lord, did it die? And he goes to Ezekiel 37, all the dead bodies on a field. He said they didn't die of old age. They died in battle and they were taken out by the enemy. And God says, I can breathe life into you. I had a revival this morning. I don't know what your impression was.
He's talking to leaders out there, but who have leadership down to an art form. Who look good on the outside, who know the right things to say, maybe they're on camera. We know all the external things, but internal, we're completely dead. And that was that one line that he mentioned, that we are perfect leaders on the outside, but we're corpses, we're just bones on the inside.
Yeah, I know, that one got me. I teared up a little bit. It's like, was he watching me this week? Look, there's no serious, open sin or anything, but I will admit, after 30-some years of ministry, I needed to hear that. Yeah. It's like, where's that fire that was there my first week into this movement?
Yeah. And it wasn't just finger pointing either. No. There was hope at the end. This is God gives you this ability to be resurrected from your bones now. Take it up this morning at annual. It was a hopeful but very pointed message. And I appreciate Pastor Shane's messages very much. So much that we are getting transcripts of those. They'll be on the Adventist Review website. It'll be a one day delay just because we want to...
Yeah, we've got to make sure it does justice to the preacher.
But there was humor, there was conviction, and there is hope. Just all the things that you need in a message.
It was amazing. AdventistReview.org. You're going to want to watch for that. That one, we'll make that available. And share it with your friends, share it with your church. This was a big deal, and it felt Spirit-led to me.
For sure.
It really did. Sure. Then we moved into the more mundane reason that we're all here in this building today, and that is the business of the church. I don't find it mundane. We do have to equip the church to do things in a responsible, professional, legal way. Yeah. And so today we kicked off, first of all, with an orientation for new members. I heard a number today, like there's 80 brand new members that couldn't even get here today.
Oh, was it 80? Oh, they're not here.
That couldn't make it in time because this is pretty quick after GC session, but a lot of new faces in there. They had people stand and so on. And then they showed us how things work, and they talked about Election Buddy.
Yeah.
Which used to be an actual physical unit we had in our hands at GC Session, but now it's all online, right? And you're a delegate. I've brought a real live delegate to the show today, Justin Kim, to explain to you how he votes when they call for a vote.
I'm going to put my fingers over the QR code here.
Yep.
So we get these cards, and there's a QR code on there, and with our electronic device, we can take a picture of the QR code. It takes us to the website, and the actual motion that's on the floor, that's the question that's being decided. It shows up on our device, and we can either choose yes or no, yay or nay, and it gets tabulated pretty quick.
Pretty quick is right, and very high tech. If you want to speak to this room in there, you scan your badge as you walk up, and no, we don't have our badges on.
Yep.
And we're not technically supposed to be in this building without those, so shh. But you scan your badge when you walk up, and the chair automatically sees your name, where you're from, what field you're from, and I find that all very interesting because there's leadership from literally everywhere on the planet in there, several hundred people representing your world church. Then we moved into the business, right? We had...
Well, but I really appreciate, all this technology and all this isn't formality. It's really a mechanism to try to get everyone comfortable enough to talk about the motion at hand.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate that sometimes people think that's a lot of talking going on, but in the Adventist church, there's an equality that's placed on every person around the world. This isn't just leaders can talk, and then everyone who has gone through the right process has equal opportunity. So whether it's the name tag, it's this card, all the accoutrement has been devised so that people can talk. And
there's word of the day
about the Lord's business.
Yeah, I'm impressed with that word. Wow, I'm in the wrong organization. I mostly speak in monosyllabic English. Although I just made a liar out of myself. All right, so Election Buddy, we got everybody oriented, we explained what was going on. Then we started to move into what looks mundane, but it's not. It's the legal meetings.
Yeah.
We had 4 constituency meetings.
Yep.
Entity by entity. Why do we have to do that? It's because a lot of the ministries that you know of either are a function of the GC and need oversight and they answer to a body, or they're actual legal entities, and we had 4 of those today, starting with...
so there's Hope Channel today, and then there's AWR, there's ADRA, and I forget, what was the fourth one?
Fourth one was education, the Accrediting Association.
Oh yes, that's a specialty of the education department, yeah, for sure.
And I learned a lot today. I'd encourage you, you think, oh, that's the business part, I'll go for the next sermon, I'll speed up through No, watch this stuff. Watch your church at work. You'd be proud of how responsible, how mission-minded the leadership of the church really is.
Yeah.
I come away from it thinking, God has put good people in the right places, and I was pretty excited by it.
So, for example, you have the accreditation agency. I mean, it's not just a legal organization that just puts their stamp on things. It's saying this organization, they decide what makes an Adventist institution Adventist, right? These aren't just government guidelines, but this is how can we encourage the world organizations, the institutions, to be fundamentally Adventist, and they do audits, and the whole process is done to keep our doctrines true and faithful on the institutional level. I think that's really cool.
Now, again, mission was woven through all of it.
That's right.
It really is about finishing the work, whether it's a dry... The legal meetings aren't that dry here. Not if you really listen to the hearts of the people that are presenting. So
I think, Shawn, that's really key that you're saying you need to have that lens of, hey, where's the mission in all of this?
Yeah.
And you see that's really the intent in the motions, in the bylaws, in the comments. And if you don't have that lens, it kind of doesn't make sense.
No, exactly. And I'm very appreciative in this new administration. There's a real focus on mission. It's emphasized and emphasized. As a matter of fact, when they started today, the officers, the VPs, they all kind of rotate through the chair, but they all sat up there together to kick it off. And they're going to finish the meetings all sitting up there together to underline integrated mission globally. So it really is intentional, and I'm sensing that God really is leading this. And I know some of you have been around for a while and you start to say, yeah, we've heard that before. We're going to finish the work. This really does feel like we're turning some kind of a corner. The world is changing, and the church seems to be ramping up to meet the need right now. And I'm excited to be here. You need to watch this stuff. If you just take a Sunday off and watch all of it, watch the whole thing, I think that, first of all, you'll be encouraged. Second of all, a lot of things that people just say, I watch the comments on the YouTube stream, people are just saying things in arrogance, like these people receive multiple paychecks for every board they sit on, and none of that's true. Watch it for yourself. Forget what people say about it. Watch it for yourself. So we did Hope Channel. They've got 88 Hope Channels worldwide. They set a goal today, or they stated their goal. They already said it. 1 billion people by 2030.
Yeah, that's intense.
1 billion people. And then the math was fun. If we reach one per second.
That was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you reach one person in 1 second, and he goes through all the intervals, but for 1 billion people, it
32
takes...
years. Yeah. 32 years. So it's going to take a miracle to hit it by...
So he said it by, what, 2030? 2030.
Yeah. So in the next quinquennium, 1 billion people. That warmed my heart. ADRA presented, and of course, many of you are aware that ADRA faced challenges, and what I appreciated about Paulo Lopez, the president today, he got up, he said, yeah, we're as strong as ever. No question we faced challenges, but we serve a great and mighty God, and it was transparent, and it was mission-minded, it was forward-minded, and it left me greatly encouraged. He started looking at, like, ADRA in Georgia. There's only 300 church members in the country of Georgia, and they have opened a child development and rehab center for the community. Kids with disabilities have somewhere to go for support. I'm just so proud of what God's doing through his church as I listen to some of these reports.
For sure.
AWR, that one was interesting.
That was interesting.
Today, only Americans were allowed to vote at that moment.
That's right. Clifford Goldstein came up to me. He's like, "Man, I've been here for 30 years. That's the first time I've heard this."
That's the
but
best
they say it all
Cliff
the time.
impersonation.
They say that all the time.
Yeah.
But they do that because the FCC wants the American assets to be for government. What is government?
Well, the constituency of AWR forms the membership of the Adventist Broadcasting Services, which holds the radio licenses of the church.
There you go. Yep.
And the FCC has a rule that says you can only vote if you're an American. It's an FCC thing. We don't really have a choice.
I guess from the government angle, they don't want any non-Americans utilizing the American channels for their other political communication, which makes sense. But that's why you see, at least when they were asking for the vote, that if you're an American, please vote yes or no. But if you're not, you can just enjoy. I think Karnick said enjoy the view, and that was
maybe applaud. Maybe applaud.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, and so again, this isn't the FCC's not doing this in response to us. Don't develop a theory about what's going on. This is just across the board, and because we hold radio licenses,
that's right.
This is a necessity.
That's right.
Yeah, I had to tell them once upon a time. I've been in broadcasting most of my career, and they said, "Well, you're going to be on the board of such and such." I had to admit at that point I wasn't an American citizen. It's like,
you were Canadian at the time?
Yeah, I was a Canadian at the time, and you're out. It's like, okay, no more board meetings.
Is that right?
I'm good. And now, I do hold an American passport, so now I don't.
Welcome to America.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, I got to vote. No, I didn't get to vote because I don't have a vote. I'm not high enough up the chain like my boss.
So you're American, but you, okay.
Yeah, no, only Justin got a vote from our department, and I sat on the edge and cried a little at how unimportant I really am. No, I'm kidding. I'm just, All right, what to look forward to tomorrow? Obviously, we're going into the Sabbath hours. That's why we're reporting early today.
Yes, we are.
Business is wrapping up right now, and
so tonight there's going to be a big women's ministry presentation starting at 6:30 Eastern Standard Time here on the East Coast of the United States, and children are going to be presented, and women are coming out in their cultural garb and whatnot, and they're going to big celebration of women's ministry, and then tomorrow is the big Sabbath where the whole AC comes together. That's not air conditioning, that's annual council. And we get together, and Urton Kohler with executive officers, they're debuting the big thing.
The big thing, and we're not allowed to say a word yet.
Not yet.
You're going to have to tune in tomorrow. I heard a rumor about what the big thing is, and I'll tell you this much, I'm pretty excited.
Yeah.
But you have to wait for tomorrow. You need to tune in and watch this tomorrow.
Yeah.
We don't have a broadcast tomorrow. It is Sabbath, and it's just Sabbath worship and the big initiative. We're going to come back on Sunday at about 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on Sunday.
Business should be wrapped up by then,
Yeah. Roughly 5 o'clock. If you're there at 5 and we're not there, you have to forgive us. The Bible says you can't go to heaven if you don't forgive. So it might be 5:03, but it'll be at the end of the business session on Monday. We'll go live. It'll still be in YouTube later, and we'll catch you up on the remaining business of the church. But join the church. Please do join. And if you're attending your local churches and so on Sabbath, absolutely, you should be doing that. But maybe in the afternoon, go and take a look at what happened in the auditorium here as delegates from around the world worshiped together and prayed about what might happen.
Or if you're super busy, just kind of watch us for the wrap-up at the end of the day.
There you go. That'd be the most
short
important
little
broadcast
clip,
of the whole day. Yeah. And wouldn't you know it, before we're done this week, we're going to name this show, and let me tease you, maybe this will continue.
We've been bouncing
going into
around
the
with
future.
the name.
Yeah.
It's not just in time, by the way.
Not just in time. No. This just in.
No,
I like that one.
No.
Yeah. But something like that. The rapture, right? With a W. The rapture, the wrap up at the end of the day. But we're throwing all those to the side, and before we're done here, you'll find out what we're actually going to call this.
We'll have a good one.
Yep. Thanks for joining us. I'm Shawn Boonstra.
I'm Justin Kidd.
Just in.
That wasn't just in time.
Yeah. We'll see you Sunday. Happy Sabbath.